Yo, let's go back to high school. Remember the Breakfast Club? Am I dating myself? I never watched the Breakfast Club, but I remember the song and I remember the final pose at the end, and I kind of got the gist of it. You're like a few kids in a bad situation, and they learn something by coming. The power of friendship is essentially the whole point of the movie, and I dig that. But the power of friendship always should lose against the power of teamwork. The power of teamwork is always better than. I'm rambling. Hey guys, how you doing? My name is Hero, and this is Coding with Strangers. And don't you forget about me. Bing. Don't. It's a great song. And the remix by Yellow Card, Chef's Kiss. Go look it up on YouTube, kids. I want to talk about working for the man. Working for the man has to be one of the most doom and gloom situations. But we all talk about wanting to work for man. Working for the big FANG, Fang. I think there's two A's in that for the two A companies. Not sure. I always forget. Amazon is someone else. But we want to talk about Amazon today. And you remember yesterday I was looking for a paywall remover. Someone was so generous to provide one for me. So thank you for that. But working for these companies indirectly go against a lot of the things that will probably make you happy. The level of freedom that you get, the responsibilities, and the daunting task of always knowing that you are just an expense report away from being cut from the list. I've told multiple stories about how these companies show zero restraint or regard for people who are working for them. From Amazon, where we know as fact that they have their in the field workers having to piss in bottles, and people in the warehouse having 15 minutes to run across 4 football fields worth of stuff, eat their food, get their food, take a break, rest, and before getting back out there. And all of these things leading to you being in points and not being able to meet or keep up with people. And it's just ridiculous to think that some frail old person could keep up in the picking line with someone like me. If it's being based on a workman's average, people get weeded out, and it becomes competitive by default. But even in the corporate ranks, things aren't going as smoothly. And once again, I want to remind people beg for these jobs. They beg for these jobs, and then you end up 3 months in, burnt out and ready to find less stressful work. So let's talk a little bit about the culture of these bigger tech companies, and why an alluring paycheck might not be everything it's cooked up to be. Because Amazon has been trying since the pandemic's end to reverse the work from home thing. And I'm going to keep it quite frank. Don't give up the fight. Don't go back in. It's not your fault that they bought these $12 million a month rental properties because they want to see their worker bees in action. And middle managers are utterly proven useless when they are in charge of highly competent people. Could you imagine having a manager for someone like me? No, just give me the assignment. I don't need someone to watch me or check my work. That's what you pay me for. You pay me to be efficient. You paid this person because of an inside job. But it's not hard to believe that people are willing to forego promotions and a lot of other benefits like free lunch and free coffee, unlimited snacks for freedom. It's kind of weird to hear a company say all of those things isn't worth your freedom anymore, right? It's super weird that that's their talking point. So let's learn why Amazon is starting to look more and more like high school, and we're all in detention. Amazon cracked down on coffee badging employees by tracking individual hours spent in the office. This is by Eugene Kim. Amazon told several teams to stay a minimum 2 to 6 hours per visit to comply with RTO policy. The new rule aims to stop coffee badging employees who briefly stop to satisfy the RTO mandate. Amazon workers have pushed back on RTO policy, with some finding ways to bypass the new mandate. Amazon is now monitoring the hours corporate employees spend in the office. This move is intended to crack down on people who are trying to skirt the company return to office policy. Business Insider has learned several teams across Amazon, including the retail and cloud computing units, were told in recent months that a minimum of 2 hours per visit is required to count as office attendance, according to multiple screenshots of internal Slack messages obtained by BI and people familiar with the matter. Some teams have been told to stay at least 6 hours per visit. Oh my goodness. So it's detention. That's literally it. 6 hours, that's in-school suspension. That's some bullshit. Who's in charge of Amazon?
Son of a bitch.
Who is that in charge over there? If you show up, you gotta go? Oh my goodness. Amazon's goal is to ramp up scrutiny of the coffee badging. Did I call this bagel before? I think I called it bagel before. Coffee badging. Some of the Slack messages said coffee badging refers to an employee who badges in, gets coffee, and leaves the office. That's the best type of employee. Hey, get that motherfucker a raise. I came, I saw, I got coffee, and went home. That's a full day of work right there. That's a fool's day of work. Oh my goodness. But I know people who do this. I know doctors that come in. They'll come in. I've seen this happen before. They'll come in. They'll scrub up. They have a resident or fellow who's in like their 4th year, and this is sort of a rite of passage. I mean, you spent the time to develop this future doctor and put your heart and soul into them, and you want them to feel confident with you. So a big part of that confidence boost is, you go in, you pretend like you're about to scrub up, get ready for the surgery, you get on the table, you tell and it's like passing on the torch. Because at this time, the physician is usually, if they're right-handed, at the left side top of the bed, and they're leaned in. They're waiting on the patient to get dressed by the scrub team, and the fellow's there. He's second in command. He's given the directions. He does the timeout, which is basically where everyone agrees what surgery we're doing, who the patient is. Someone confirms that the patient on the bed is the person, and they get 2 confirmations before the first incision. And right as the doctor gets the scalpel, he's ready to start. He stops, looks at the time, says, "Oh no, my appointment's about to start. Doctor, you have this, right?" And he hands you the scalpel. And it's the response. That's what's key. It's got to be firm. It's got to be, "Yes, sir, I can handle this. Have a great meeting." Anything less of that, and everyone's going to stick around. Everyone's going to stick around. If you're shaking, if you start shaking to go grab that, no. Nurse, call my 12 o'clock. Tell him I'm canceling. But he says yes. He breaks scrubs and he leaves. And the room goes silent for a little while. But the doctor never intended to do the surgery anyway. That is like, they wanted to see if that person's ready. And they don't really go too far. The first few times, they're in the observatory room or the room over. And the nurses always going back and forth, wondering why she's just giving him updates. Now we have cameras, so he can see everything. But that's a rite of passage. So to hear, like, there is no rite of passage at Amazon. You could be working there for 10 years. You could be working there for 3 years. No, you're going to be treated like a fucking high school student, no matter what your tenure is, no matter what your job is, no matter how efficient you can be at work. They're going to monitor you like you're trying to escape as a senior in high school. That's crazy. You're paying someone $500,000 and you can't trust them to do their work from home? That says more about you than it does about the person, honestly. Amazon started requiring office attendance for most corporate staffers 3 times a week last year, but didn't have a minimum hour obligation for each visit. The move is the latest point of tension in Amazon's long fight to bring employees back into the office since announcing its return to office plan early last year. Amazon has faced fierce pushback from employees, with roughly 30,000 people signing an internal petition. What a way to, you don't give a damn. Because let me give you guys some more insight. But nothing is anonymous at work. Oh, this is an anonymous HR thing. Is it mandatory? No. Okay, then I don't want to do it. It's never anonymous. It's never anonymous. Want to know how I know? Because I called my manager a dickhead. Specific words, dickhead. And even though I was telling the truth, I still got in trouble for it. So that just goes to show you, being honest isn't always the best thing. That's why I lie. You feel me? But for them to have an internal thing where people can sign, that means they just sign their name. So they're open and bold about that. But if you make fuck you money, you don't really care. If you've made $500,000 for 6 years and you live an expense life of $100,000 a year, you're set. Mathematically speaking, you're set. You don't have to work for the next 10 years. Could you imagine not having to work for the next 10 years? Man. But there's a part of me that still supports them for even wanting to fight that. I'm still the person that there's a part of me that's still not mad at them for that. Policies. Amazon later doubled down. Get fucked by forcing some employees to move closer. Ooh, you bought a house in your favorite location, and you're still paying off the mortgage, and they made you move. They some assholes. These are the companies people are begging to work for, and I just don't see the lust for it. I'm not infatuated. To their team and blocking promotions of people who failed to comply, Amazon CEO Andy Jassy even warned non-compliant employees to leave the company. Like, this is not a lawsuit waiting to happen. If I don't move back after you told me I could leave, I could lose my job. Way to put yourself out there. That's a lawsuit waiting to happen. In an email, Business Insider Margaret Callahan, an Amazon spokesperson, said company has started to speak directly to employees who haven't spent enough time in the office. Another lawsuit. You're separating people after not making. You didn't make a definitive. This is how you know, companies are really built off of luck and expendable cash, because they said it themselves. They didn't make it mandatory how much time you had to spend there. But now they're singling people out. Like, they're just setting themselves up for lawsuits back to back. Over a year ago, we asked employees to start coming into the office 3 or more days per week because we believe it would yield the best long-term results for our customers, business, and culture. You want to know the best part about this? You could use stats to prove this. You don't have to use your beliefs and feelings. But they've already done the research. We know from peer reviews that during the pandemic, people were more productive. In fact, if you are one of those compulsive motherfuckers like me, you finished your work so fast, you got nervous. You started making up shit for yourself. Orchestrated chaos became your new job. Oh, I got to find something to do. Let me respond back to the 33 emails that didn't really involve me, but I want to make sure they have my input for some reason. Manufactured chaos. The vast majority of employees are in the office more frequently. There are more energy, connections, collaborations. These are all forms of bullshit, talking points. Yeah. Collaboration. You mean to tell me we're going to go into a 3x3, a 6 foot by 3 foot room with 4 people, get on one call with another team downstairs in another 6x3 office because the big meeting office is being used for lunch with all the managers and team leads? That's the collaboration. The energy is going to be better. Yeah, with the dude Phil, who's been with the company for 20 years, never got a promotion, but feels like he's the smartest person and he always talks about how he could bring this company down because he knows where the bodies are hidden. You're a crypt keeper, Phil. That's nothing to brag about. Now that it's been more than a year, we're starting to speak directly with employees who haven't regularly been spending meaningful amounts of time in the office to ensure they understand the importance of spending quality time with their colleagues. That friend bullshit. The power of friendship. Like high school students, many Amazon employees shared their frustrations with the new mandates. The Slack messages show that they complained that it is an unreasonable, stringent policy that raised more confusion. One person questioned if badging in to eat lunch for 2 hours would count as a workday. Some wondered how exactly the hours could be tracked or if even legal to do so. Another person said Amazon motivation for this wasn't clear as the company never officially announced nor explained why it was doing it. This is fucking crazy. It's all just so not transparent. It's maddening. This person wrote in Slack. The lack of transparency will drive people insane. And I think it's by design. They want you to quit. They want you to quit so they don't have to fire you. Because when you quit, they don't have to pay severance. Others were more snarky, pointing out employees will eventually figure out a way to circumvent the rules. Some people warned that Amazon has fired people who failed to comply with the in-office work policy. One person wrote that people will act like high school students if you treat employees like high school students. Remember when we were measured on metrics that actually mattered? One of the other people wrote in Slack. More companies are enforcing return to office policy. In summary, last year by the video conferencing company Owl Lab, 58% of respondents who said they were hybrid workers admitted to coffee badging. Hey, clap it up for those people. I'm not going to sit here and defend a billionaire. That's not my job. More companies now appear to take action. As a July survey, work from home research found that the managers were getting tougher on enforcing return to office policies. In February 2024, 23% of respondents said that non-compliant employees faced termination, up to 11% in 2022. About 17% of respondents said their employers didn't punish the violators, a big drop from 34% in 2022. So, yeah. Even so, at least one Amazon employee seems to have already found a way to circumvent the new attendance policy. Let's see what they got. This person wrote in Slack channel that they were able to badge in through one of the back rooms located in their local Whole Food stores. Whole Food is an Amazon subsidiary. The door didn't unlock, this person added, but the badge in did register as an attendance on the Amazon internal report. Could I badge into this door 3 days per week and save myself from having to commute to the office? The person wrote in Slack, hey, yo, you want to know what would be crazy? If he did that shit, and then just said, fuck it, let me go ahead go grocery shopping for an hour or two, get all the, yo, he just went grocery shopping. Hey, I'm already here. I might as well grab they got the fresh rolls at the front. I got my coffee. I know the girl was talking about she wanted to have pasta tonight. Mamma mia. Do you work for Amazon? Got a tip? Hey, the snitch hotline. They got a snitch hotline for you down there. All right, so what's the takeaways from this is companies are bad at managing future problems. COVID happened. They didn't have a contingency plan. They thought that was the new way of life without thinking, oh, what if things do go back to normal? And they actually believed that they wouldn't have to force people to come back after 2 years of doing something they normally do. Like, people went out and bought houses, had children. Imagine having enough money to do something you've always wanted to do but couldn't do because of the thing that's giving you the money, and then you can do it, and now they want you to stop doing it. And the thing I'm talking about is be happy, right? A lot of these people left the hustle and bustle of wherever the fuck Amazon's headquarters are to find happiness. They found their peace, and now they're trying to take it from them. And I can't be mad at these people for trying to hold on to it dearly and trying to usurp the system. In other words, these are the brightest minds this side of the Mississippi. So it's not terribly hard to believe that they're going to figure out a way to usurp this system. Amazon, however their corporate real estate works, needs to find a way of justifying these places. But you want to know what would even be easier for them? To turn these buildings into homeless shelters or sell them back to the city. But then how are they going to make money off of their tax write-offs? How are they going to have something to showboat around as a form of their corporate dominance? There's so many more ways they could make money off of this real estate than trying to force their employees back in. And these people know the game. As long as they don't quit of their own volition and they don't do anything that's going to cause the company direct harm, they'll rack up these points, they'll rack up these errors, and take severance. I've never left a job of my own will without getting severance. I'll send a lawyer to their front door before I leave without severance. And for them, if you're making $500,000, you take and you can get 60% of your salary. That's a win. I'm assuming you got everything saved up. The second thing is, it's a boomer ass thing to do. Because it seems to be boomers who are only interested in this engagement. You want to know why they want to have people in front of them? Is because they enjoy basically putting force over somebody. Because they can't do that shit at home. Their wife already left them. The kids don't like them. But they pay you to put up with me. So you're going to have to fight me. Like, you're going to have to like me. Right? It's one of the weirder things you see. This is something I see a lot with like two-time divorced doctors. There's a rule, there's sort of an unspoken rule at my hospital. Doctor's been divorced twice. He's not nothing nice. He only gets the old school nurses because they don't take his shit. You give him a young nurse, they gon' yell at him. They gon' bully him. Give him a nurse called Martha, Eunice. Not Mary Jane. He can't do nothing to him. He be too pissed. He can't say shit. They remind him too much of his wife. And they got half his balls in the other in they person in this OR. They got the rest of them. So it's just bad management, and it's a constant reminder why I stopped applying to these bigger companies. Because when I read these articles, it's a constant reminder that yeah, the money might be great, but what's more important than your sanity? I don't know if I would trade $500,000 for my sanity, but that's just a story and that's just my opinion on it. How much money is your sanity worth? Let me know in the comment section below. Like, share, subscribe. All right, we're done.